For joining the Healthier Together team for today's webinar on Better Sleep Simplified. As we give participants a few moments to settle in, please share in the chat if you feel comfortable how many hours of sleep you get on a typical weeknight. I realize weekends are very different for many. And then followed by the number of hours you feel you personally need to feel functionally at your best. So if you feel comfortable, how many hours of sleep you typically get on a weeknight, followed by the number of hours you personally feel like you need to function at your best. Everyone's different, and I feel like I need a lot more sleep than the average person. So feel free to share there. All right, 5 to 6 hours, need 7, 8, 5 to 6 hours, need 7, 8. Interesting. Good. 8 and you need 8 to 9. I'm the same way, Carolyn. Good. This is always so interesting. I get 8 to 9, and sometimes I feel like I need 10. So I'm really a bear. 5 to 6 hours. Wow. I wish I only needed 5 to 6 hours. Some people are fine that way, but all right. Well, thank you so much for sharing. Every individual is hardwired with a natural inclination for our own unique sleep patterns. So today we're going to discuss how your chronotype influences your early bird or night owl tendencies, as well as the best times of day to focus on work, working out, and consuming caffeine. First are a few items before we get started on today's topic. So a few things before we get going is that this webinar will be recorded and emailed to everyone in attendance. So if you have to leave the webinar early or want to revisit the content, the recording will be uploaded to our Yammer community and to our YouTube channel. The slide deck will also be available for you to review as well. Thanks for sharing those in the comments. Isaac will give you those links. And then when it comes to our webinars, our goal is to engage and interact with you as much as we can throughout the course of the presentation. So please don't be shy, don't hesitate, utilize the chat, add comments, ask questions, and we will respond throughout. Or if we did not get to your question, we will contact you individually. So next, if you haven't already, we strongly encourage you to track your personalized healthy habits on the Healthier Together Hub. So there are actually 20 sleep well habit cards, such as tracking your sleep, creating a device-free zone before bed, relaxing your mind and body before bed, going to bed at a reasonable hour for you. So there are very many things that you could track if you want to, just for your sleep alone. There are also other topics such as activity, nutrition, stress reduction, embracing diversity and inclusion. There really is something for everyone, and then some. You're going to find things you didn't realize you wanted or needed to track. And then for those who have not been on the hub before, we have the links on the next slide for your convenience. So this Healthier Together Hub houses various Medtronic resources, events, calendars, and challenges. It's your one-stop for all things wellness. Please feel free to reach out to me with any specific questions. I'm always here to help and guide you in the right direction. And now that we've gotten those logistics done, I'd like to introduce Kyle Rains. Some of you already know him as the infamous Flex Break leader, who it will now help us understand the power of sleep.
Thanks, Kelly. Always love how you guys reference me and associate me with the flex breaks. But yes, over the last couple years, the Healthier Together team has shared information about sleep. This year, we wanted to bring it back to basics, as well as talk about a topic we found interesting, sleep chronotypes. So let's get into some of the basics behind sleep, the importance of sleep, and also circadian rhythm. So within the first couple minutes of falling asleep, several changes occur that affect the brain and the body. Things like body temperature drops, brain activity decreases, heart rate and respiration rate slows. Additionally, as your body goes into its restful state, your energy expenditure, your body's energy expenditure lowers as well. And that shouldn't be a surprise. You know, sleep is kind of a almost a hibernative state. Then over the course of the night, you go through multiple sleep cycles. It's important to remember that sleep is dynamic. There are 4 stages in which you cycle through. The first 3 are what is called non-rapid eye movement. And then the fourth, which is the famous of the sleep cycles, which is your REM sleep or rapid eye movement sleep cycle. What's notable about the stages and cycles is the duration of time you spend in each stage at different points during the night. You'll see this depicted in the image on the next slide. You begin in stage 1, which lasts only a few minutes. It is pretty easy to wake someone who is in this stage, as this is the lightest of the light sleep stages. An uninterrupted sleeper may not spend much more than a few minutes in this stage, and they just move through further into the sleep cycles. And this is where we get into stage 2. Stage 2 is where your body enters a more subdued state, and you see more of those changes in the body and brain, like the temperature, your body temperature drop, relaxed muscles, and slowed breathing. What's quite interesting is even though brain activity slows in this stage, there are still short bursts of activity that actually help you resist being woken up by external stimuluses. Stage 2 only lasts around 10 to 25 minutes, but can become longer in duration throughout the night. Take notice of that in the graph here on the next slide. So stage 3 is known as your deep sleep, and it is usually harder to wake someone up if they are in this stage. Experts believe that stage 3 is critical for restorative sleep, allowing for the body to recover and to grow as well. It may even help strengthen your immune system and other key bodily processes. What I found interesting is there is evidence that this stage of deep sleep, even though brain activity has decreased quite a bit, can contribute to insightful thinking, creativity, and memory. Stage 3 sleep is usually longer during the first half of the night. As you continue sleeping, these stages get shorter and you might spend more time in REM sleep. And that leads me into that final stage, stage 4, or rapid eye movement sleep. Even though throughout the other stages and even just sleep in general, brain activity decreases. But in REM sleep, brain activity actually increases. It increases almost to the same level as when you are awake. At the same time, however, your body enters a temporary state of paralysis, specifically of the muscles. We can spend between 10 to 60 minutes in this stage, and this is where our most vivid dreams take place. Under normal circumstances, you do not enter REM sleep until you have been asleep for about 90 minutes. As you see from the image, as the night goes on, the duration of REM sleep is longer towards the latter portion of your sleep. And just like I mentioned before, notice how stage 3 decreases as the night progresses as well. So sleep stages are important because they allow the brain and the body to recuperate and develop. As I mentioned before, stage 3 is believed to be critical to recovery, growth, and development. Failure to obtain enough of both deep sleep and REM sleep may have some consequences on your thinking abilities, emotions, and physical health. Sleep is an essential biological function and is a strong indication that it is a fundamental to positive well-being. Sleep is critical for the physical and mental development in babies, children, and young adults. Not getting enough sleep of the necessary deep sleep and REM sleep, especially for adults, can be associated with cardiovascular problems, a weakened immune system, impaired thinking, and then other mental health issues like depression and anxiety. Practicing good sleep habits and good sleep hygiene can help give you consistent, restful sleep. So one area that we haven't discussed in previous sleep webinars, which those webinars can be found on our YouTube channel for review, we haven't really talked much about circadian rhythms. Circadian rhythms are the 24-hour cycles that are part of your body's internal clock that runs in the background to carry out essential functions and processes. One of the most important and well-known circadian rhythms is the sleep-wake cycle. Different systems of the body follow circadian rhythms that are synced with your master clock that's actually in your brain. Your master clock is directly influenced by environmental cues, especially light. And that is primarily why circadian rhythms are tied to the cycle of day and night. When your circadian rhythms are properly aligned, it can promote consistent sleep as well as that necessary restorative sleep. Your circadian rhythms work by helping to make sure that your body is working optimally at various points during a 24-hour period. It coordinates mental and physical bodily systems, for example, the digestive system. It helps coordinate the production of proteins to match the typical timing of meals, and the endocrine system to regulate hormones to suit normal energy expenditure. The circadian rhythms throughout the body are connected to a master clock, like I've mentioned before, located in part of the hypothalamus of the brain. At different times of the day, through this part of the brain, it sends signals out throughout the body to regulate activity and, again, other bodily processes. One small note is that circadian rhythm is an effect of your biological clock, but not all biological clocks are circadian. Fun little fact there. As I mentioned before, the sleep-wake cycle is the most important example of circadian rhythm. During the day, light exposure causes the master clock to send signals that generate alertness and help to keep us awake. In the same way as it begins to dark or become dark outside, it is that time for sleep, and the master clock initiates that production of melatonin to help promote sleep and keep us asleep throughout the night. Continued research provides new findings about circadian rhythm and how it affects sleep. Evidence has connected them to metabolism and weight through the regulation of blood sugar and cholesterol. It can have an influence on mental health as well. Some research has shown a connection to potential neurodegenerative diseases like dementia. A disturbed sleep-wake circadian rhythm can cause serious sleeping issues. So how do you maintain a healthy circadian rhythm to promote better sleep and the important restorative sleep? Being consistent in practicing and improving your sleep hygiene can help maintain a healthy circadian rhythm and promote the necessary lengths of deep sleep and REM sleep. Incorporating these tips into your daily life can help you sleep better, like exposing yourself to natural sunlight. Follow a consistent sleep schedule, meaning you're going to bed or trying to fall asleep at the same time every day, every night. Daily exercise can help influence and regulate that sleep-wake cycle for yourself. And then avoiding caffeine maybe later in the day. Again, different for each person and how their body regulates that caffeine. But avoiding caffeine later in the day can help you be at a good bodily state and mental state for that sleep. And then also, as you may have heard before, limiting light, whether that's sunlight, light from a lamp, or even that light from your devices. Limiting light before bed can help maintain that healthy sleep-wake cycle. So I do want to note, if you are having trouble sleeping or having severe sleeping problems, speak with your doctor so you can receive a specific diagnosis for what you're experiencing, and also receive an appropriate treatment plan. So the final piece of information that I have for you before I hand it over to Isaac to take you through the sleep chronotypes is just showing the guidelines or recommendations of how much sleep you need per night. Based on the American Academy of Sleep Medicine, adults are recommended 7 or more hours of sleep at night. Whereas, for example, a growing 5-year-old needs about 10 to 13 hours of sleep. So widely different from adults to young growing children. But again, sleep is dynamic and it can be different, and individualized for myself, different from Kelly, different from you. So that kind of concludes my informational segment in understanding sleep. And again, touching on that circadian rhythm element. So now I want to hand it over to Isaac, and I'm excited to hear more about the inner, sleep animal.
All right. Thank you, Kyle. Man, Kyle, you just crushed it. I got to follow Kyle. How am I going to ever get up to that level of that? But no, we will try here. Thanks, Kyle, for that great information. And yeah, I'm going to talk to you today about chronotypes, and I'm hoping you can take this information and easily and quickly apply it into your life. So chronotypes were developed by Dr. Michael Bruce and is defined as your body's natural disposition to be awake or asleep at certain times. A chronotype is related to your circadian rhythm, which, as Kyle determines when you fall asleep, wake up, and when your body releases certain hormones such as melatonin. But while circadian rhythm can be affected by both your internal and external, the only factor that affects a chronotype is your genetic makeup. The chronotype Dr. Bruce refers to can be defined as your inner animal. The lion is early to rise and early to bed. The bear is down with the sun and up with the sun. The wolf wakes late and goes to bed late. And the dolphin doesn't really have a sleep schedule. These are all categorized by the length of the PER3 gene. Lions tend to have a longer gene, while wolves have a shorter one. The length of this gene can determine the overall amount of sleep an individual might need every night, with lions and bears needing the most and wolves and dolphins needing the least. When we discuss sleep, as Kyle mentioned earlier, we often hear the most important thing you can do to get better, more consistent, more rejuvenating sleep is to establish a sleep schedule. Understanding your personal chronotype is an important step in determining your ideal sleep schedule, so you aren't going against your own genetics. So, if you will, we're going to take the next couple of minutes to find your chronotype. On the slide, you can find the link to a chronotype quiz. If you would like, once you find that what animal you are, please share in the chat. We'll see what kind of animals we have here in the audience. So once the 2 minutes is up, we'll go over Dr. Bruce's sleep recommendations for each chronotype. So I will start my timer here. You can follow the link. You also don't have to participate if you don't want to. It's completely up to you. But the timer will start now.
And Kelly did put the link in chat as well. So that way,
Okay,
I know
perfect.
during the presentation, you can't quite click on the slide, but yes, check in chat. Kelly just had the Psych Central quiz. Again, it just takes a few minutes. I did it last night twice just to double check. And I ended up being a dolphin. I was surprised. Isaac, what were you?
I was a bear.
Kelly or
I'm also a bear, Isaac.
Yeah, well, bears make up, or I guess the most frequent chronotype we have. So I wouldn't be surprised if we have a lot of bears coming up here. But a dolphin, Kyle, I'm impressed. You're a dolphin, man. That's great.
Well, and what surprised me about that though is because as you kind of share, dolphins are they don't really have a set sleep schedule, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I have a scheduled sleep, I practice, always going to bed by midnight.
Yes.
So I don't know, I just found it interesting that
Mhm.
I landed in that category of for the chronotype.
Also, I think maybe having like a 0 to 2-year-old in your house kind of forces you into being a dolphin as well.
That doesn't
Yeah.
affect your sleep at all. What do you
Yeah,
mean?
because that's what happened to me. I'm a bear and I need that nice long sleep up with the sun, down with the sun, but little Janie had a different idea for me, so. You got about 10 seconds here.
I will say some of the questions you did have to think about a little bit,
Yeah,
and really evaluate, which of the 4 selections, you fall under.
mhm. All right.
So
Well, my timer went off. And so we're gonna go thank you for taking the time if you did do that, but you can also go back later, take it then, and just take in some of the information now. But let's investigate Dr. Bruce's recommendations for each chronotype, starting with the first to rise, the lions. Lions make up 10 to 20% of the population, and when they wake up, they are ready to go. No easing into the day is necessary for them, making the most productive time of their day the early morning. So if you're a lion, try to plan your most mental energy expending or creative tasks of the day right away in the morning when you have the most ambition and drive. Aim for a bedtime around 10 to 10:30 p.m. and have a consistent wake time between 5:30 to 6 a.m. Because the length of your PER3 gene, you may require just more rest in general. The best time for lions to exercise is around 5:30, not in the morning, but in the evening. You might think it should be early morning, but cortisol levels, the stress hormone, are elevated upon waking. So it's best to not flood your body with a double dose of cortisol, as cortisol levels also increase during exercise. Also, if you're a caffeine user, Dr. Bruce recommends consuming between the hours of 9 to 10 a.m. And it's also worth noting that all the caffeine recommendations are based on 100 milligrams. So about a cup and a half of coffee. Bears make up 50% of the population. Their energy levels tend to go with the cycle of the sun. We bears, as you found, I am a bear, tend to have our peak energy in the late morning. So as a bear, I plan to complete my most creative, mental, energy expending tasks later in the morning when I feel fully awake and that morning drowsiness, sleepiness has subsided that us bears and wolves experience. Whereas lions, boom, they're up and at them. I try to avoid doing big tasks early in the morning or later in the afternoon because it's not sustainable for my chronotype. For bears, it is also recommended to have a 10:30 to 11 o'clock bedtime and to consistently wake up around 7 a.m. Peak exercise time for bears is around 7:30 a.m. 7:30 a.m. and during the noon hour. And caffeine intake is suggested between the hours of 10 a.m. to noon. Wolves, the night owls, make up around 15 to 20% of the population. They prefer to go to bed late and wake up late. Since their PER3 gene tends to be shorter in length, they often need less sleep than bears and lions. They are most creative and have the most energy into the afternoon and evening. Because of this, it might be difficult at times to stay on that 9 to 5 grind because your peak productivity and creativity may very well be after those hours. Dr. Bruce recommends that wolves should strive to go to bed from 11:45 to midnight with a wake up time at around 7:30. The suggested exercise time for wolves is around 6 p.m. and they should hold off on caffeine until 10:30 to 11 a.m. Now the rare dolphins, Kyle here. So dolphins make up about 10% of the population and have irregular sleep patterns. They are often light sleepers and sensitive to noise, making it a challenge for them to get on a consistent sleep schedule. Though getting on a sleep schedule can be difficult for dolphins, they typically need less sleep to function at a high level. So kind of weighing your pluses and minuses there. Peak productivity and creativity is late in the morning and early into the afternoon, like bears. Dr. Bruce recommends that dolphins aim to go to bed between 11:45 to midnight, just like wolves, but should have a wake-up time of around 6:30 to 7 a.m. Exercise is also best around 7:30 a.m. because it kind of helps dolphins calm down from sleeping. And they also recommend that dolphins have a 9 to 10 a.m. Window of having caffeine. So if you're interested in knowing more about these wake times and bedtimes and how they were determined, you can take the time to examine the slide to know the equation that Dr. Bruce developed. I'm not going to go to it in detail because I feel like I might put myself to sleep looking at all those numbers and whatnot. So thank you for listening, everyone. Here is a resource slide. So feel free to look into any of these to know more about chronotypes. You might notice that top link there, the Dr. Bruce quiz. That is the quiz that Dr. Bruce developed himself. And that one takes a little bit longer because there's a little bit more questions. The questions are a little bit more difficult, and it does require an email address. So that's why we took that other version of the quiz today. But I will give the mic on over to our new program manager, Carolyn Rice, and she is going to do some breathing exercises that can be done before bed or if you wake up in the middle of the night.
Awesome. Hey, everybody. Thanks, Isaac. That was really fun. I got to say, it was fun to see the chat and see what everybody's chronotype was and what their sleep animal was. You're right. Most people were either bear or lion. And as I mentioned, I'm a bear, and everything you mentioned in that slide was like, oh, that's me perfectly. I love to work out around noon. And the only thing was the caffeine. I feel like I really like my cup of coffee like right away. And it said like 10 a.m. But anyway, I thought it was very, very interesting. So I hope everybody had a good time with that as well, and check out those resources for more information. So we're going to kind of turn the table here and talk about some breathing exercises. Like, for example, if you're a wolf, your wake up time ideally, right, was 7:30 a.m. Well, you may start your job at 7:30 a.m. So sometimes things don't really coincide, or you have little ones at home, right? Like Kyle and Isaac were mentioning, that just doesn't really, just doesn't really coincide with what your ideal sleeping schedule should, or what you'd like it to be. So I'm just going to go over some breathing exercises that can help you fall asleep and stay asleep, right? Because we know sleep is important to our overall well-being, but sometimes our life cycle, our life schedule, like I said, might not fit into your ideal sleeping pattern. So these breathing exercises can be a way to calm your mind and body and put you in a relaxed state so that you can get a proper night's sleep. So let's look at belly breathing. So belly breathing is one type of breathing exercise. So when we focus on breathing through our belly, it helps our body to relax, which is what we need it to do when we're trying to go to sleep. And it also lowers the stress hormone cortisol so that we can feel calm. We all know sometimes our mind gets, ruminating at night when we lay down to sleep. So if we can get that stress hormone lower down, that really helps us to be able to fall asleep. So let's go ahead and go through the steps to do some belly breathing. Okay, so if we look at this slide here, we're going to take that first step and place one hand on your chest and the other hand on your belly, just slightly above your belly button. Okay, what you're going to do is take a deep breath in through your nose. So ensuring that the hand on your chest stays still while the one on your belly rises with your breath. I like to think of this like as a balloon. So as you're taking that deep breath in, you're filling up that balloon with air, right? So go ahead and take that deep breath in. And then as you exhale, now you're allowing the hand on your belly to slowly fall. So again, that balloon analogy, we're squeezing, when we squeeze that balloon at the tip, right? It just goes ahead and deflates that balloon. So think of it that way. So let's try it one more time. Okay, so take a deep breath through your nose, filling up that belly. And then as you exhale, allow the hand on your belly to slowly fall. Excellent. So that's belly breathing. And that's one way or one type of breathing exercise that you can do when you're trying to fall asleep or even getting back to sleep if you're one who wakes up in the middle of the night. So let's move on to our next breathing exercise. Okay, this one is called 4-7-8 breathing. So just like the name says, right, it's 4 counts of inhaling, 7 counts of holding, and 8 counts of exhaling. It's a deep rhythmic breathing technique, and it involves that pattern of inhaling, holding, exhaling, so that you can reduce anxiety and then promote that relaxed sleep. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and give this one a try as well. Okay, so think about that 4-7-8. So get comfortable, right? Inhale through your nose while counting to 4. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold for 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Exhale 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, let's try that a couple more times. So do that on your own. Count to yourself. Ready? Inhale and count. Go ahead and complete one more cycle of that. And of course, you can put those 2 movements together, right? Those 2 techniques together. So you're doing some belly breathing as you're doing this 4-7-8 breathing. Excellent. Okay, so those are 2. We're going to go through one more breathing exercise. And that's going to be our next one called box breathing. Now, box breathing is personally my favorite because it combines breathing exercises along with visualizing. So I find that if I can get my mind visualizing something, it takes some of those thoughts that just keep ruminating out of my head because I'm a ruminator at night. So this is one of my personal favorites. So I want you to think about as you take each 4 count, either breath or hold, that you're visualizing one side of the box. Okay. So you inhale for 4 counts. Again, you can use that belly breathing, right? And then as you do your 4 counts, you're visualizing one side of the box. Then you hold for 4 counts and you visualize another side of the box. Then you exhale for 4 counts and you're visualizing another side of the box. And you hold again for 4 counts, visualizing the last side of the box and coming back to your starting point. And then you just repeat that. So let's do that again. Inhale 4 counts, one side of the box. And hold for 4 counts. Exhale for 4 counts. And hold for 4 counts. And you're back to your starting point again. Okay, so look at those breathing techniques, those breathing exercises, the belly breathing, the 4-7-8 breathing, and or this box breathing, and give them a try when you're really trying to fall asleep at night. Or like I said, if you're having trouble getting back to sleep, these are some great exercises that you can do as well. Okay, so thank you for doing these exercises with me today. And I'm going to pass the baton over to Kelly now, who will share with you some upcoming events and offerings.
Great. Thank you, Carolyn, and welcome to our team. Carolyn's been here, I think she's almost here a month. So it's nice that everybody got to meet her on the Zoom. So really appreciate the information you gave us and those breathing techniques. I like that belly one. It's tough not to inhale up. So
It takes some practice, so
Yeah.
keep trying that. Yes.
So thank you for that. Well, so upcoming events, our Healthier Together team really strives to collaborate with other groups such as MEEP, Well at Work, and various networks to make us healthier together. So basically, you could always be participating in a wellness challenge, a fitness focus, a webinar, or a well-being course. I'm going to highlight just 3 upcoming events so I don't overwhelm everyone. So the first one is the Better Sleep starts now, the Journeys and Rethink Care. So it expands on improving your sleep habits with the Sleep Well Journeys and then the Rethink Care Sleep Better courses. So that's something there that you can check out at your convenience. Next, we have the Reduce Food Waste Challenge, which starts April 17th, so coming up quickly. And it's the goal of eliminating food waste for at least 5 out of 7 days, focusing on eating your leftovers, like adding them to a salad, a soup, a smoothie. I guess it depends whether you're adding in fruit or veggies. Some of that can be interesting and creative. If you're up for the challenge, I would love to see a post about what you do with your leftovers. And then just composting food scraps. And one great benefit or resource here at Medtronic is the Environmental Action Group. And they have a lot of sustainability tips. So I've definitely checked them out if you're not on their Yammer page. They're very resourceful. Then April's monthly fitness focus has you performing a new pose of yoga every day to reset. And it's going to help improve your energy and flexibility. So it's designed into a yoga flow at the end of each week, and you can perform the week's poses in order to get a nice yoga flow. Doesn't take long, but it really just helps reset and refocus. As always, keep an eye on Yammer for announcements and the Healthier Together Hub for more information on these events. Next, we have the live offerings. There's a wide variety of opportunities. We have 3 new classes added in 2023, which was the Positive Posture Break, the Nia Dance, and then the Flex and Stretch. You may go to our Twin Cities Wellness SharePoint site or click on the links when you receive the slide deck and add them to your calendar. We are going to be adding a new one also in May in the mornings. It's going to be a meditation flex break that I'll be adding Tuesdays at 7:30 in the morning to give to be more inclusive and get those early bird. Which one was that? The bears that are up earlier can have some exercise or some choices as well. All right. Well, this brings us to a conclusion for today's. I would like to thank you taking time out of your day today and staying awake and alert for our Better Sleep seminar. Utilizing the chat, I would please share one thing you learned today or an action item you're going to begin. It's always helpful to share and see. We're interested as a team too, just to see what you got out of the seminar and always open to ideas and suggestions. Don't forget to join the Healthier Together Yammer community and learn about upcoming challenges, programs, other resources available to you. So thanks again for joining us today. We wish you only the peaceful and restful nights ahead. Thank you, guys. A special thanks for Kyle. He ran the bus today on this PowerPoint presentation. So it's always a fun team to present to you.
Thanks, everyone. Enjoy the rest of your day. And as mentioned before, the recording and the slide deck will come out in the next 24 to 48 hours for you to review and just check back at the information. So thanks, everyone. Take care.
See ya. Thank you, everyone.
Bye.